Hey, Keith Macri.
Hey, it's me. I'm back.
Great to hear from you.
Thanks.
It's been so long.
It's great to hear from you. It's been a while.
You look terrible.
Yeah, I'm an ugly person. So.
I got
not much I can do about it.
From glass houses throwing stones right now.
Oh, you're a beautiful man. Everyone knows that about you.
Thanks. You don't have to say that.
I have to just to keep
stop. You guys stop too.
Someone's got to feed the beast's ego to keep him coming back to the show.
You gotta keep Daddy juiced for the episodes.
Yeah. You'll never know what I have to go through.
Daddy needs his juice. This is a brand new series. It's a brand new playlist.
This is what we're okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure. What do we have an official name? We never have an official anything.
We don't have an official name yet. I'm tossing around a few. I sat down with Monique the other day. I was like, I want to get the female perspective.
Yeah.
I'm like, what can we call this playlist so it's honest and does honor to the subjects, but isn't like condescending and pandering and shitty?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be those things.
Nope.
All of my ideas she thought were terrible. I like Hail to the Queen. I say we just go Hail to the Queen as the title.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's not, that feels like, if I'm going to be on the other side, isn't that like appropriating sort of their vernacular or female vernacular?
I don't think it's an insult for a man to call a woman a queen, though.
You can't guarantee that. I feel like if we two white men are going to name their playlist, Yes Queen. What did you say it was? Hail to the Queen.
Hail to the Queen.
Hail to the Queen.
All right, let's give people a little context.
They have no idea what we're talking about.
So female-led films that we really love. For a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is being that our top tens have offended everyone. No, they're very
me most of all.
Yeah. No, but we want to continue to get a variety of films, variety of protagonists, and so we want to just put together a playlist of female-led films. I also like chick flicks. Because like we're taking it back. We're taking it back.
Men just taking it back. There's no win here.
Anyone should be taking it back.
It feels like there's no win here. But yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Put your recommendations
Please do.
in the comments. You guys get to choose. It might be Hail to the Queen to start because it's so clever.
Hail to the Queen. I'm fine with all of it. But I'm already thinking of all the ways we're gonna get canceled.
Boss bitches.
Love it.
Speaking of boss women, Jackie Brown.
Is she dead? Yes or no? Is she dead?
Pretty much. Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown.
Nothing gets between me and my AK.
Woo!
One of the best.
Brown.
Pam Grier.
Pam Grier.
What an icon. You have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. So this was when we first had the idea to do this playlist, I feel like I was like, we gotta do Jackie Brown.
Yeah, this was your
Brown
first.
Is phenomenal. I love this movie. I love it. I think it's just a great film. It is such a low-key masterpiece in my book.
Okay.
Tell me, you start, Keith, because as per usual.
Yeah. I will say I love Pam Grier. I do.
Keith, don't be a dick in this episode, okay? I swear to God, if you're gonna fucking make me wake up early on a Sunday and insult and slander Jackie Brown, and you gotta get me all gassed up. I haven't had coffee. Am I gonna have to get defensive?
Yeah, I didn't really care for the film.
This guy.
I want to hear what other people have to say about Jackie Brown. Where is, as I'm not a huge Tarantino fan in general, I will lead off with that. I don't love his work universally. I don't dislike his work universally either. But I want to ask you, as probably someone who's more versed in his career than probably myself, is where does Jackie Brown fall in his pantheon, if that's the right word to use? Where does it fall?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's obviously entirely subjective. For me personally, it has always been my favorite.
Really? That blows me away. That fucking blows me away. Wow. I'm shocked at that answer.
It was my hands down favorite until maybe Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because I really love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I was going to say, I thought that was your favorite.
Yeah, I don't want to make any bold statements about that movie being my favorite Tarantino, because it's still new. I've still only seen it 3 or 4 times, and I feel like I need to watch it a lot more to say that. But Jackie Brown, I think was always my favorite, and I liked it for a lot of reasons. Not one of them being like it was kind of a cool answer to give because it's a little less
well-known,
mainstream.
Yeah.
You know, it's like one of his more as underground as a Tarantino movie can be, pretty much.
Yeah.
But also it's because it's in a lot of ways I think it's the most nuanced, it's the most thoughtful, it's the least big and grand and over the top, and I think it's just a really good story, well executed. So I've always loved it.
I think on the flip side, I think it's relatively boring. I was underwhelmed with the story, and I was underwhelmed with the directing of that story, to be honest with you. I felt, often we've talked about before, the writing being super present, and I don't want to say this is overly written. That might not be the right way to phrase it, but it's a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of writing. It's just I felt a lot of Tarantino being there, and I also felt very little drama. I felt very little like moment. I don't think I was ever like nervous at any point in the film. Like I never thought like, oh, this might not work out. You know, like oh no, I hope she gets out of this. Like it's very clear throughout the whole film that she's going to succeed, and this is going to go exactly according to plan. You know, give or take a few moments here and there, but you know, I never felt threatened. I never felt like high stakes. It wasn't a very entertaining film on the negative side. That's what I didn't like about the film. Do you want to just?
It's hard. It's hard for me to process, Keith.
Okay.
This is all very difficult.
Okay. Do you want to come back next week and figure it out?
Yeah, let's start over. We got to start over. No, all right. Let's give a little base, and then we'll come back to your absurd points here.
Okay.
Okay. Jackie Brown is Tarantino's third film. Mm-hmm. Came out in 1997. Mm-hmm. Stars Pam Grier, as you mentioned, mm-hmm. Samuel L. Jackson, Robert De Niro, Bridget Fonda, Michael Keaton, Chris Tucker, which I'm sure you're going to want to talk about.
Love me some Chris Tucker.
Really great cast.
Phenomenal cast.
Really great cast.
Phenomenal cast.
Robert Forster. I'm so sorry. I didn't say Robert Forster, and he is a standout. And I think as people look back on Tarantino's career, Jackie Brown is kind of an outlier. So I think it's interesting that you say it feels like such a Tarantino movie, because I think it's an outlier because it doesn't, in most people's views. There's obviously elements of Tarantino signature all over the place. The script, I think, especially feels.
That's what I'm referring to. I feel like he's when you talk about Sam Levinstein's son, being in the room with those actors, like that's how I felt. Like Tarantino was just kind of like
that hurts me.
Hanging out.
That you make that comparison.
But I don't know how you could disagree with it. You may enjoy it and say like, yeah, or even think it's good. That his influence is so heavy. It almost felt like a Kevin Smith movie to me in that sense. Like I was just like, yes, he is part of this.
Chris, why don't you shut up? Was yapping all the time. Give me a fucking headache.
Feel free to disagree.
I think the difference, for me, is that Tarantino is such a great writer that, like, even though you can tell it's one of his scripts, you're not thinking about that in the moment because the writing is so good and because his actors are doing such a great job of making it their own. So I think Samuel L. Jackson in this movie in particular, I think Ordell Roby is such a phenomenal role. It might be my favorite ever Samuel L. Jackson role. I think he really does a lot of amazing things with that character. And so as he speaks, you know it's Tarantino but it becomes Samuel L. Jackson. So I'm not thinking of Tarantino's writing it because this character is so expertly developed and crafted and portrayed.
All I'm hearing is these great and talented performers, because that's the A-level thing of this film, is the performances. Top to bottom, fantastic. I could not say enough how every character I thought became those people. Amazing. But all I hear from you is saying these amazing performers overcame that problem, because
I certainly did not
if
say overcame.
If they were worse performers, if I'm doing that, you're going to be like, wow, that's just Quentin Tarantino working Keith like a puppet because I can't convey that emotion. They are overcoming the issue that I'm talking about for you. The issue still stands.
The issue being that it's too much a Tarantino script. Not that it's a bad script.
Yes.
You just hear him too much.
I hear him too much, to a fault. I'm not saying it's not talented, and I'm not even saying the film is bad. I want to be clear. I don't think the film is bad. For me, I wasn't entertained by it. I really wasn't entertained by the story, and I just couldn't get away from this. This felt like Tarantino saying, this is my art, and I'm going to force feed it to you. I'm going to force feed 2.5 hours of what I think this is down your throat. And some people may like that. Some people may enjoy that because they enjoy what they're getting fed down their throat. But it was long, it was slowly paced, it was long dialogue, long scenes, not a lot of action, not a lot of directing.
It's not an action movie.
I know, but not when I say action, I don't mean like gunfights and whatever. Like, I just mean momentum. There wasn't a lot of momentum, and even in the way that he directed it, like I don't think the directing is very good, like, at all. And who am I to say that? I am a garbage person and a garbage director, so I have no leg to stand on. Absolutely. But if you ask my opinion, I don't think the directing led to anything. Like, I don't think it enhanced anything. It didn't give me a unique perspective on anything. It felt very locked off. The things you criticize me all the time about, just very locked off, very static, very, like, I don't mean to do this. I don't mean to do this. I don't mean to do this.
Your soul on this Sabbath day.
It just didn't. I was disappointed. I was honestly disappointed. But I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. I just think this is fascinating. Because I should be more prepared for you to always have the opposite
opinion of you?
Reaction to films of what I assume a normal person would have.
Yeah. But again, I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong. But do you honestly think that the direction of this film, like, do you think that was a standout part of this film, the direction of the film? Do you think that enhanced or like really brought to life anything?
I wouldn't say that I think it's a standout part. But I think that's part of what he was intentionally doing from what I've read.
Making a boring film? That was the goal?
Yeah, totally. But no, taking a step back from, because I think normally he's very heavy-handed, for better or worse, as a director. And he's over-stylizing things, and he's doing things in really different ways that really stand out.
I'd rather that.
So in this movie, I think, and I just read something where he referred to this movie as like a hangout movie. This is like a chill hangout movie that you can just kind of put on, and you're just there with these characters. And so to me, you get to spend time in this world inhabited by these nefarious people to varying degrees, and watching them interact. And it feels, it's not, I would never call it slice of life, but there's moments that feel like I'm just spending some time here. One of my favorite scenes, which I think is one of the more like iconic, probably universally favorite scenes, is the first scene with Samuel L. Jackson. I was thinking of how much, as they're watching the TV with the chicks with guns, and you meet him, and you meet De Niro, and you meet Bridget Fonda. And I think that scene is so expertly written and directed, where you just meet Bridget Fonda the first time, you just see her legs like on the table, and she's just this person kind of out of frame. You don't even know she's there at first because you just see De Niro and Samuel L. Jackson. You think these two guys are just having a conversation, and it's like you're just learning more in this expanding way about this world and these characters. And Samuel L. Jackson's dialogue in particular about the guns is fucking hilarious and awesome, and you almost feel like, especially when you watch it when you're younger, that you're like learning stuff that you would have never known.
Yeah.
Like AK-47, when you absolutely, positively got to kill every last motherfucker in the room except no substitutes. Like that kind of line is great. That's like, and a great writing, and I don't like hear Tarantino.
It's a great, I think it is a great performance. I think you're getting lost, and just to put words in your mouth, to tell you how you feel, and I apologize, but I think I give all the credit in that situation to Samuel L. Jackson, because can't say enough about his performance. I agree 100%. And again, everyone's performance. I think De Niro and Samuel L. Jackson, like specifically coming into this, and again, this is me looking back, coming into the film, like they're icons. They're at a whole nother level. It just becomes De Niro doing another thing. You know, you just kind of get lost in who that star is. But in this film, I think De Niro does a great job of not being De Niro. You know, or what I would imagine him to be. And Samuel L. Jackson, he's closer to kind of what you think he could be. But there's such a level of nuance and such a level of detail of how he inhabits that character. The performances, I can't say enough about those performances. But I don't give the writing that much. I give the performances more of the credit, because I think if you have much worse actors reading those same lines, you don't like this film as much.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I was gonna come in here and be like pissed off and shocked that this movie wasn't nominated, because it only got the one nomination for Robert Forster.
He was and he was great, like low
He's
key,
phenomenal,
like phenomenal.
But we want to talk about
performance.
performances. I'll heat praise all day.
Yeah, I mean that's where we can agree. Like as I'm watching it, and I'm watching, I forget the gentleman's name, Cherry,
Max Cherry.
Max Cherry. I was like, man, he's fucking killing it. Like this is great. And that was before I realized afterwards that he was not. Then I felt good about myself. Like, see, I can recognize talent. Like that, he was fantastic. He was the whole cast was, but he was excellent, really, really excellent.
Thanks, but you have a good time.
I wonder how much of his directing is due to the sort of the tribute in some ways, the homage that he's paying to a lot of blaxploitation films that also starred Pam Grier back in the 70s that I can't pretend to be too familiar with.
Yeah.
But like maybe stylistically there's some stuff there that, because I know the movie Coffee and Foxy Brown are a couple especially that I think this movie tries to sort of pattern itself after. You're a big blaxploitation 70s film guy, right?
I just know Dolomite. That's it.
Dolomite is my name, and fucking up motherfuckers is my game.
Well, just tell me what you like about it, and I'll agree. We can just start the episode here.
I already tried, and all you wanted to say was Tarantino's a bad writer, and he's a pretty mad director.
No, I just don't. Film. I just don't love this film. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying the film is bad. I'm just saying I didn't enjoy it. That's all I'm saying. I personally did not enjoy it for the reasons I said I don't enjoy it. That's it.
I think because of the dialogue and the characters, and like I said, like you just spend time with these people that are fascinating and listen to them speak and watch them plot. And I like a slow burn, which this movie is. It's just a slow burn. I always forget it's 2.5 hours. I always forget that. In my head, it's 2-hour movie. And this probably will sound crazy, but to me, it never feels long because you're just like hanging. You're just hanging with these people. And
I don't know how that's a fun movie-going experience. I'm sorry. I love this movie. It's great.
It's a different movie-going experience. You vary your diet a little bit, Keith. Get a little fiber.
Colon blowing you in the morning.
Colon blow and new super colon blow.
Warning, may cause abdominal distension. Consult a physician.
Like, that's what it's a little different. It's not every movie-going experience has to be like, well, there's a 3-act structure.
No, I don't care about the structure. I just think it needs to be compelling. I don't know, this is what makes me the most upset, in principle, not this film, but about the business, the industry. People take a quick nap and I'm going to talk to you guys. What frustrates me the most about the business is that certain people get the benefit of the doubt that others do not. And that is inherently shitty. I don't like that.
Like once in a generation talents like Tarantino get the benefit of the doubt that others don't.
The general you can just say, oh, I like the slow pace here, because I think you're just giving Tarantino the credit. You're trusting him because of his track record, rather than objectively looking at it and say, well, no, I don't like this. Because if anyone else directs this film, I think people fucking hate this film. I think no one likes this film if this is not a Tarantino film because of those reasons. Not like but people overlook things.
You're contradicting yourself because you're saying as a director he's not even involved. He didn't do anything. He's such a mad director.
It's just his name. It's just his name. The perfect example, an example of this is I was watching some videos online the other day about script readers, professional script readers for big Hollywood studios or whatever, and they say they read the first scene, maybe the first 2 scenes of your script, unless you have a name. If you have a name, then they'll read the whole thing, and that is my point. That is very frustrating to me. Is that Tarantino could hand in a script, which he would obviously never do, but I'm just saying, like, someone with a name could hand in a script to someone. The first 10 pages could be dog shit, and they'd be like, this is it's Tarantino, it's got to be good. They have to know something I don't. Like, they can do shit too.
Works. That's how we view great people and great artists.
I don't like it.
They're way more talented than everybody else. If Paul Thomas Anderson gives me a script and I go like, well, I'm going to treat this the same as everybody else. No, because I know that he's one of the all-time greats.
But you can objectively judge their work. Like, you should be allowed to be like, oh, I don't like this particular execution of that. They're not foolproof.
Of course you're allowed to.
But I think people don't.
That's how the world works, Keith. Thank you, love. Oh, you look great, babe.
Hi. Hello. Not you. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, rounding out the performances, Bridget Fonda, you, I assume, think she was fantastic?
I think everyone was fantastic. I think Bridget Fonda does great. I was a big fan of Bridget Fonda's character in 1997.
As a young boy, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yep. It's shit you can smoke weed all. If you smoke weed all day, it's gonna rob you of your ambition.
Not if your ambition is to get high and watch TV.
All of a sudden, that's bad writing. I really love. You brought up De Niro. I think this is such a fascinating, great De Niro performance. Mm-hmm. Like really one for the books. Like this should be in his reel. I know he's been in so many amazing films, but this is such an interesting time of his career. Because it's like, he's not quite old De Niro, but he's, they caught him at the perfect moment.
He's mid De Niro.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of mid De Niro roles. You know what I mean? It's like, because Heat was in 94, 95, I think, and he was older there, but he was still like they were portraying him as still like handsome and virile.
Yep.
And here is like, put on an extra 35 pounds, looks rough, looks like he just got out of Susanville. Really embodies that role to a T, and you just watch him. Tell me you weren't shocked when he shot Bridget Fonda. Tell me what your emotions during that moment.
I was caught off guard. I was definitely caught off guard. I was like, oh, cool. Not cool, but like interesting. Like, yeah, you shot her. No,
finally, somebody shut that woman up.
That's not what I meant. I meant interesting. That's an interesting turn. I didn't see it coming. Fun, and little level of enjoyment. Yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed that singular part of it. What I will say about De Niro and the thing that you're touching on right now, one of the more interesting things I do find about the film, that's not really what's happening minute to minute in the film, is that getting old and being old is really a theme of the film.
Yes.
And I wouldn't think that they would make too many films in this that's not like dedicated to just like, as good as it gets type, like, or Road Hogs. What's the name?
Old
hogs? Well, I don't know.
Old hogs. Grumpy old men.
Grumpy old hogs. I wouldn't think they would, have, like, this feels like a younger person's style of film. You know, but the really core element of the film is accepting that you're getting older. Are you too old? There's a whole theme of that throughout the whole film, which I found very, very interesting in general.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a good observation. Is if you look at that cast, it really is like an older cast.
Yeah.
I guess Bridget Fonda is the only one that's supposed to be on the younger side, and she's portrayed as the kind of ditziest, stupidest, most useless of that main core group, and that is an interesting thought process for especially Tarantino, who at this point was not an older man himself, just his third film.
Yeah.
To do a story of that kind of subject matter where all your protagonists are, you know, late 40s, 50s, 60s, kind of figuring out their place.
Yeah.
As they're approaching that back half.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, I really hit the spot.
Tell me your emotions when Chris Tucker showed up on camera.
Love Chris Tucker. Love a young Chris Tucker. Where is he in his career at this point? I assume he's not discovered. You know, he's not.
No, this is post.
Is this post
Friday,
Rush Hour?
isn't it?
Like where?
No, pre-Rush Hour, post Friday. I feel like Friday's 95, 96, and then this is 97, and then Fifth Element is like 98-ish.
Yeah.
And then Rush Hour's not till like 2000.
I love Chris Tucker. He's a star in my opinion. He has the ability to command. He has a presence that few people have, in my opinion. Love him or hate him, he's a lot to digest, don't get me wrong. But he has a presence that I think few people have ever had.
I've always loved Chris Tucker because I loved this movie. I really loved Fifth Element when I was a kid, and I thought Ruby Rhod was one of a kind. Have you not seen Fifth Element? Oh my God, Keith, I could tell by you staying quiet and your expressionless face. How? Oh, Jesus. Okay, we'll come back to that. That's somehow the second most problematic opinion you've had of this whole episode. You like Chris Tucker and you haven't seen Fifth Element. It's insane. It's Chris Tucker on cocaine and everything else in the world, and he's like effeminate. Like it's an amazing performance.
I know the role. I've seen clips. I've just not seen the whole movie.
It's just like a...
All of my information I looked up was like around all the Oscar snubs, but we can't really talk about that because you think the movie's garbage.
Of course you can talk about the... You could say your opinion, and you thought it should have got snubbed for every single category. I'll disagree, but...
Well, I mean, we mentioned the Oscars a little bit before, and I think this is the films that came out in '97 for the '98 Oscars, which was the Titanic year. So Titanic was obviously going to win everything all the time. But we talked about this in the Boogie Nights episode because it's the same year Boogie Nights came out. So we dove into this because Boogie Nights similarly snubbed in most ways. So your Best Picture nominees were Titanic, As Good As It Gets, The Full Monty, Good Will Hunting, and L.A. Confidential. That are all solid films, but, you know, whatever. And then Best Actress is where a big snub, because I do think Pam Grier, while she's not perfect, she is very, very, very good. I think the turn in the movie where Ordell Roby shows up to kill her, and she takes her, like she becomes a badass, and you see the Pam Grier from the 70s.
Come on, girl, you know I was just playing with you.
I ain't playing with you. I'm gonna unload both of these motherfuckers if you don't do what I tell you to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Jackie, stop acting crazy.
Do you understand what the fuck I'm saying?
Yeah, woman, damn.
That scene, like, shut the fuck, sit your raggedy ass down. Like, when she goes full badass, that's an amazing scene. And when she's, from that moment on, I think she's a lot better. I think she's not quite as good as playing the more, like, muted, kind of passive person. Not at all insulting. But I just think that's her skill set, is when she gets big and not just angry, but like confident.
Animated, yeah.
Yeah, like when she's like got a lot of, I'm trying to think of another word for swagger because I fucking hate that word. But when she has like just that confidence going, that she's on another level. So I think And I did read that Quentin Tarantino was especially disappointed that she wasn't nominated, because at this point, had she been nominated and won, she would have been the first black actress to win Best Actress, an honor that went to Halle Berry a few years later.
This moment is so much bigger than me. This moment is for Dorothy Dandridge, Lena Horne, Diane Carroll. It's for the women that stand beside me.
That seems like a miss.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that's maybe a little victim of the genre. You know,
perhaps, but almost I would say if I was Tarantino, I'd be like, look, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction were hugely successful, respected films that were also largely snubbed and criticized for being overly violent. And so here I made this movie where I scaled all that back.
But he's labeled at that point. I'm guessing. I'm on the other side of the argument just to have the conversation.
But it's
he's probably labeled at that point.
Likely racism too. I mean, this is
100%. Yes, yeah. It's convenient. It's very convenient for the Academy or whomever to just say, yeah, we're not going to even consider that film. You know, we're really not going to consider that as that's not our class of film.
I don't know how Samuel L. Jackson is not nominated for this movie.
He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal.
Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you, motherfucker. Listen, I go walking in there, and that nigga Winston or anybody else is in there, you the first motherfucker get shot. You understand me?
Just his whole little monologue right there is so, like the way, his stringy hair, and he's very threatening. He does such a great job. Like, he is a very scary man. Conversely, a guy you want to hang out with. You know, like in the beginning, you're like, oh, this guy seems like a great time. He's fun, he's smart, he's quick, he's laughing, he's drinking. But then at the end, you're like, no, this guy's a fucking threat. Like, this guy is violent.
Somebody with a grudge blew Beaumont's brains out. Oh, shit. That shit rhymed. Blew Beaumont's brains out.
His performance is unbelievable. Again, everybody's. Pam Grier, fantastic, I thought. Top to bottom, everybody was great.
You ever made love to a man?
Me?
You want to?
No.
No, I'm asking you that.
Sorry,
That's the best reaction.
I'm sorry, I was like, what?
Best reaction.
Well, because I just told a story about prison. I was like, what are you saying?
Like, I'm just gonna sit here casually and be like, yeah, that's a great story, Keith. So have you ever made love to a man?
Everett, like that's out of your character?
Me?
Shut the fuck up. That's of course. Of course that's something you would ask me randomly, non sequitur.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Thank you.
I was trying to do the bit from Bad Boys 2.
You want to?
It's hilarious. All right, well, fucking pointless. There's no point.
It's the smartest thing you said all day.